Welcome back for another video. What a game week it's been. I've had a super lucky game week thanks pretty much entirely to O'Reilly. As always, every Sunday we're going to discuss what we've learned for Gameweek 28, my team selection and my transfer plans. I've lost my voice a little bit. I was out last night at a concert. How are you guys getting on so far this game week with the final game left to play Monday night? Leave a comment below. So Chelsea have dropped a league high 19 points from winning positions this season, and they've also got a league high 6 red cards for Fofana sent off, 1-1 draw with Burnley. João Pedro with the opening goal, only minutes into the game, plus he got a bonus point for 7 points. 3 shots he took, 1.28 expected goals, which was the most of any player on Saturday. He's been sensational over the last 6 game weeks. Well played if you had João Pedro. He got returns in all of the last 6 games now. 10 goal involvements, that's 5 goals, 5 assists in 6 games. 55 points over the last 6 is top in the league in fact. And this is where Chelsea's fixtures turn a bit though. They've got Arsenal away, Villa away, Newcastle home, Everton away, Man City home. Are you keeping hold of João Pedro or are you selling? I think if I had him I would honestly just take the points and run. A blank from Enzo in that game as well. He's definitely getting sold for me this week. That's 3 blanks in a row. Really disappointing to come away with nothing against Burnley, Leeds and Wolves in the last 3. A Palmer blank as well. He had a couple of decent chances. And what a disappointment the Chelsea defence has been. I mean, you can count yourself lucky if you didn't have any Chelsea defenders over the last 6. Extremely high combined ownership, and they've only kept 1 clean sheet since Game Week 16. West Ham versus Bournemouth ended goalless, but a couple of things to highlight here. Firstly, Hill continuing his run of returns. He's returned in his last 5 games in a row, 6, 9, 7, 7 and 6 points. A very fortunate clean sheet in this one. West Ham actually registered 3.27 expected goals against Bournemouth. They took 20 shots, 16 in the box. There was a moment of brilliance from Ryan. He picked the ball up and really deep in his own half, and he made a run all the way to the edge of the other box. He took several players on, and he got a shot off which rattled off the post and wide. That's his first blank since joining though, and that's back-to-back 90 minutes for him with a fixture run of Sunderland home, Brentford home, Burnley away, Man United home, and he's only 5.6 million. Seriously good option to consider, and he's only 1.6% owned as well, if you like a differential. 4 blanks in a row for Evan Nilsson now. Oh, and Tavernier made the bench after his spell out with that injury. He was the one who came on for Evan Nilsson actually, and he was really involved after coming on. He's worth a look at as well, given he's got the free kick, corner and pen duties. If you remember, he got an assist back in Game Week 21, and then he scored a penalty in Game Week 22, but then he got injured that game. So, Man City 2, Newcastle 1. I was out of that concert in London during the game, and I couldn't believe my eyes looking at my phone afterwards. O'Reilly with a brace for a 17-point haul. Last game week was his biggest score of the season with 13. And then he follows up with a new high score of the season, 30 points across the last 2 games. That's 26 of his season points coming in just 2 games. The big difference is Pep's change of system recently, which has got O'Reilly playing as an 8 in midfield. It was a powerful strike to beat Pope for the first goal, and the other one was a header from a Haaland crossing, so 12 points from Haaland if you captained him. Haaland won 12 duels in that match against Newcastle. That's his most ever in a match. You might be thinking, I only scored 5 or 10 points as captain from Haaland, whereas you've got 6 or 12 here. Well, I recently added a new tool on the FPL Focal app and on FPL.page, which shows you all the upcoming points changes following Opta updates. So if you've got Haaland in your team, he's going to be getting an extra point or 2 extra if you captain him. The new points changes tool is completely free as well. Search FPL Focal in the App Store or just use it in your browser going to FPL.page. Tons of free FPL tools in there like bonus points, live defcon, your live rank, price changes, fixture ticker and loads more. Trusted by just under 500,000 FPL managers that use it. So going back to O'Reilly, the only thing with O'Reilly is obviously he's got that blank in 31, which makes him a bit more of a difficult buy, unless you're going to be able to get 11 players out regardless, or if you're using a chip that week. But yeah, an out-of-position defender is tough to resist, let alone playing for a top team and competing for the title. And Man City are in that period where you feel like they smell blood and they're just going to lock in. Like, that's 5 wins in a row now, and they've got Leeds, Forest and West Ham up next before the blank. Hall got Newcastle's goal, by the way. England looking really good in the left-back department. And I am looking at Hall, or maybe Chow in Game Week 31, as my O'Reilly replacement when he blanks, because they got Sunderland home then. So, who's got the best fixtures right now? Screenshot is from the Focal app as well, and we've got it filtered by the most projected goals first. And Liverpool are top, and there's several great options there. There's Szoboszlai, there's Salah, Ekitike, Wirtz. Liverpool's run is West Ham home, Wolves away, Spurs home, Brighton away and Fulham home. Obviously Salah is incredibly expensive, especially compared to what he's done this season overall, but as a short-term pick, or perhaps a Palmer replacement, I think he's a really solid option, especially if you're looking at a Gameweek 32 wildcard. So you've got 4 strong fixtures before that. Brentford are second on the ticker. They've got Burnley up next as well, and then they've got Bournemouth, Wolves, Leeds and Everton. So Dango, Sharda and Thiago really the trio to look at there. Sharda was actually benched on his return from suspension, but I suspect we'll see him start the next one, given they were goalless and they lost home to Brighton. I'm sure he's going to change a couple of things around. Next on the list is Newcastle, then it's Man United and Bournemouth. I don't think there's anyone really as far as Newcastle assets. Man United, it's Bruno and Mbeumo, they're the main two, and they're easy holds if you got them. And I think Ryan's got to be the main pick from Bournemouth right now. Tavernier maybe as well, he could be back in the 11 next match, wouldn't surprise me. If he is, then he's fantastic as well. Projected clean sheets have got Arsenal joint top with Liverpool, despite Arsenal's blank of 31. So yeah, keep hold if you're invested there. Or maybe if you've got triple defence and your third is like a Timber or a Saliba or whatever, then I think selling one of them for Van Dijk is solid. I think I'm going to be swerving the Brentford defence, even though the fixtures look good. I mean, Van den Berg has started 4 in a row, same with Aya. Collins actually benched again, but he came off the bench because it was Hickey that got injured, but he immediately made a huge mistake that led to Welbeck's goal. Kelleher I think is brilliant if you need a new keeper though. Fulham are 4th on the clean sheets ticker, so I think Anderson's the one there if you've not got him, especially given that fixture in 31, home to Burnley. Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool was a really dramatic one towards the end, and Forest deserved something out of this game. They did play well against Liverpool, and it was McAllister who scored really late on, but it came off his elbow and it was ruled out. And then really deep into stoppage time, something like the 97th minute, a Szoboszlai cross finds Van Dijk who heads it a goal, it gets blocked, and then it's buried on the follow-up by McAllister, and then this one was given after a check for offside. That's back-to-back double-digit returns for Van Dijk as well now. He's got West Ham home next. Anderson hit DEFCON. He's done that in every game since Gameweek 17. He did actually come off when it was still 0-0 with a knock, so that's something to keep an eye on. But he did have the clean sheet banked for a 5-pointer. Another blank from Ekatike. That's 3 in a row now. The fixtures are just too good for Liverpool to sell though, so I think keeping the faith is probably sensible. Wirtz was meant to be in the starting 11, but he had to pull out. Slot says Wirtz had a problem with his back in the warm-up, but they're hopeful it's not a serious problem and expecting him back next week. So that's positive news. It sounds like he could still be safe to buy and it's not a serious injury. I know a lot of you were looking at buying him from Gameweek28, myself included, so yeah, hopefully we see some photos of him training this week and a positive quote from Slot in his press conference later in the week. And then lastly, the North London derby went Arsenal's way, but not really any highly owned assets returning. There was no clean sheet, no DEFCON among defenders. Gyökeres and Eze with a brace each. Rice did hit DEFCON for a 4-pointer, with Ryan making 3 saves for 3 points. Timber actually got an assist, but he was taken off just before 60 minutes, and he was on a yellow, so just a 3 points for him. Gyökeres hits double-digit goals for the season now after that one. 5 goals for Eze versus Spurs across the home and away game is crazy. Saka also got an assist in this game, that was another notable one. But then he later rolled his ankle in the game awkwardly after going in for a challenge. He was able to walk off and should hopefully be fine by next weekend, but we'll get an update before then I'm sure. The other injury I forgot to mention earlier was Mukiele. He came off after 12 minutes in the loss against Fulham. Sunderland will be waiting to find out the severity of that injury. We'll get an update on that later too. In other news, Stack scored a brilliant free kick away against Villa. Really caught Martinez completely by surprise there. He was expecting the cross, but he has a top left corner free kick. And he got maximum bonus as well for that, 11-pointer. Konsa got Villa's goal. I don't remember a season quite like this where there's been so many incredible enablers. Like Stack is 4.7 million, Dewsbury Hall 5 million, Lefay 4.9 million. You've got Garner and Anderson really consistent for DEFCONs, they're barely over 5 million. I mean, last season it was pretty much just Rodgers who started at 5 million. Can't really remember any other notable ones last season that were good consistent picks. Brighton managed a clean sheet away against Brentford, 7 points for Verbruggen, and Van Hecke got 9 points from that with bonus points. Palace kept a clean sheet thanks to a Henderson penalty save, and then Krejci got a red card for kicking the ball away. And Munoz hit DEFCON as well and he got a bonus point for a 9-pointer. Finally a return from the Palace defence. Lefay scored a penalty versus Fulham in their home game and he got DEFCON for a 12-pointer, but it was another home defeat. Rao with a brace that game. He's really tempting in Gameweek 31 because Fulham have got Burnley home in blank Gameweek 31, so maybe as a Haaland replacement. The only thing with Rao is basically the early subs. Like, he came off at 65 minutes, and you really want any attackers in FPL playing as close to 90 as possible, not 2/3 of the game. So, team selection and transfer plans, and the lineup is Raya, O'Reilly, Gabriel, Van Dijk, Rodgers and Mbeumo, Bruno, Rice, Enzo, Haaland and Thiago. 2 free transfers, 0.1 mil on the bank. Some fantastic fixtures next week, like City have got Leeds, Liverpool are home to West Ham, United are home to Palace, Brentford are playing Burnley. It's Arsenal versus Chelsea, which is the really unappealing fixture, especially with Rice and Enzo, and that one for me. I've talked about this already in content last week, and my views haven't changed. I really want a Liverpool attacker, given that they were top of that projected goals table earlier, so it's Wirtz and Szoboszlai that I'm looking at. Wirtz has got the more promising underlying data, 9.8 non-pen XGI this season, Zobo's got 6.3, 29 shots in the box for Wirtz to Zobo's 12. Both are excellent picks though, don't get me wrong. In my case, I can just about afford Enzo to Wirtz and Rice to Dango. I've got 0.1 million spare on those moves, and Enzo is expected to fall in price tonight at the time of recording, and Dango potentially rising tomorrow. Luckily, Enzo's price fall doesn't actually affect my selling price, so I'm okay to just tank that. If you didn't know, every 0.2 million that a player rises gives you 0.1 million profit when selling, so if a player's gone up 0.3 million, it doesn't matter if they fall in price, it doesn't affect what you sell them for. So it's worth keeping that in mind, because sometimes you can afford to tank a price fall, and if both price changes happen, I'll still have exact money to make those moves, so I'm not going to go early basically. There is a chance I could end up going for Ryan, or maybe change my mind completely on the moves, but I think those make sense. Wirtz and then one of Dango or Ryan feels like a great pair of moves, given that Enzo's got Arsenal and Rice obviously blanks at 31. Obviously, these moves are dependent on Wirtz. As I was saying earlier, it doesn't sound serious based on what Slot was saying, and seems to be hopeful that he's going to have him back next game week. I'd want to see him in some training photos at least, and a positive quote from Slot and his next press conference to be really sure about going ahead with that. If he's still a doubt by next deadline, then I'll just do Enzo to Dango and then keep Rice for the Chelsea game. I mean, Rice has just got more routes to points than Enzo, and he's got the home fixture, so I wouldn't mind keeping him as much. My chip strategy is going to be to dead end into Gameweek 31, so basically selling players that week like O'Reilly and Haaland just to get me through the game week, and then wildcard in Gameweek 32 probably to get Haaland and maybe O'Reilly back in. So yeah, wildcard 32, bench boost in Gameweek 33 straight after, free hit in blank Gameweek 34. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss out on more FPL content coming this week. See you soon for the next one.